Hey everyone across the multiverse. In this video, we are going to discuss who is Christopher Smith aka Peacemaker and how did he become DC's top guy from even though he was a DC's like D-list character. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, who is Christopher Smith? Christopher Smith aka Peacemaker is basically a trained killer and trained hero who was since birth was trained to be a killer and what do you call it? I mean, he was trained to be killed since he was a kid. His father was basically also a killer himself, and he used to go to prison and all of that stuff. Basically, he had a criminal father, and he was trained to be a killer by birth. And because of that, he and his brother both were trained in this stuff. And at one point, he accidentally killed his brother because of a punch he threw, which actually knocked him out, and I guess not murdered, like killed his brother. Even though it was his fault in the sense that he did was the one who punched him, but that was started and that was created. All of this thing happened because his father made him fight his brother at that point. So yeah, after that he became grew up and he started fighting crime and all of that stuff. And he basically had a motto that he will always bring peace no matter what happens. So he actually became kind of like a killer who did everything he could to basically maintain peace. This even meant the killing people and brutally murdering them. So basically, he had no filter on him, and his main goal was always to just maintain peace. Now, what is peace in his peace in his mind is that he will always make sure that there is no chaos. We saw an example of what he meant when he say he always want to maintain peace. So yeah, now we are basically introduced to him in Suicide Squad 2021. In Suicide Squad, we are introduced to Peacemaker, and basically he's in prison at that point. He's in Belgrave, and Amanda Weller with Bloodspout introduced him to the character, mentioning that he was a trained killer as well. Basically, he had the same backstory as Bloodsprout, and when Bloodsprout says he does exactly what I do, and Christopher Smith says, but better. So after that, we introduced the team and everything. Then they went on a suicide mission, and we see that Peacemaker, despite looking like a clown and looking very weirdly, like not a goofy guy, looking like a goofy guy, not some serious type, is actually a very amazing trained killer. He basically murders people like in a swift. He was murdering people, all of the basically those not trained, I'm not sure they were trained, but at least they were rebels, so at least they had some amount of fighting experience. So they all basically murdered all of them easily, even though they found out they were innocent. They thought they are enemy. So basically we saw that he was very good with weapons, which can be pistols, and it can be like rifles, it can be anything, it can be like some axes basically. And as well as he is basically very trained and good with hand-to-hand combat, as he fought directly. So after that he had fights and all of that stuff, and we saw his actual good fighting skills in one of the final fights of the film, where he fought basically Rick Flag. Here we find out what he meant. Basically, Rick Flag got a proof which could destroy the peace in US, as the US government was kind of pushing the whole Starfire program. Not Starfire, I'm not sure, it's not Starfire. Starfish, basically whatever the Starfish stuff was, the government was basically funding that stuff and was experimenting on stuff where basically Starfish basically took over people. And the Rick Flag got the information and he was about to leak, but Peacemaker, in order to make sure peace stays in the world, he told Rick Flag that he won't let him share this information with the world. So because of that, he mentioned that he will even kill him even if he wanted, despite Peacemaker actually liking Rick Flag himself. And they fought, and at the end Peacemaker somehow killed him with his hitting hitting some type of, what do you call it, basically something sharp into his heart, which basically killed Rick Flag. And the last of the Rick Flag were Peacemaker, what a joke. So after this, we do see his action, we do see his expression where he is actually guilty and feels bad for himself. After that, I think he, in order to maintain peace, he sure try to basically murder the rat catcher too. and at that point, before even before he actually kills her, as Blood come and they both decide to fight. Not even fight. They both decided to like hit release the bullet. Basically, the both shooted each other, and at that point, Bloodsport, bullet was actually smaller one, and Peacemaker's bullet was like a bit bigger one. So because of that, the smaller one destroyed the bigger one, and Peacemaker was hit in the neck. First of all, I'm sorry if I'm struggling to speak because I'm kind of extremely tired, but I have to release this video, so I'm making right now. Anyway, after he was basically shot in the neck, he basically bends down and basically on his knees, and he's about to die, and they left him there to die. And a fun fact is that James Gunn originally wanted him to die there, but he got an opportunity to basically create a season for him, and because of that, he was left alive in the next season, Peacemaker. And I am actually very happy this happened because Peacemaker is like one of my all-time favorite shows. Like not just superhero shows, all-time favorite shows. Might even be my most favorite shows because I am not personally a show guy. I prefer movies. I watch a lot of movies, not shows. Anyway, we are going off topic. Let's come back to where, yeah. So after they left him dying, then when in the Peacemaker, find out that he actually somehow survived. We don't know how exactly, but obviously they are just plot armor. But he actually survives, and he then we get to a mission of the butterfly mission, and we see that how he basically start to have a different turn. And he basically while he was a bad guy in the start, he was a good guy who does basically anything to put peace and make peace and make sure peace stays on. And by the end of the series, he kind of become the bad guy, but by the end of Suicide Squad, he kind of become the good guy. And by the starting of Peacemaker, he's actually the good guy, basically because he realized that his methods were wrong, and that's how he should have worked out. And now he's actually a good guy, and he basically then starts fighting and takes on the good side, and he even struggles to kill kids and mother, like the woman and kids, even though he knew that they were butterflies. They were not like actual humans, like humans being controlled by butterflies, but he was struggling to kill them and could not kill him because of all this stuff, because he actually decides to show up this unnecessarily killing, and he only kills criminals, and at that point he did not really consider them a criminal. So yeah. So now this is the thing, then he basically fights and all that stuff. I'm not going there. I will just discuss why did he become the top guy despite being a daily star. First of all, his I think one of the main reason was amazing writing, top tier writing from James Gunn himself. He basically took a random guy and wrote him so well to the point everyone loved him, and everyone loved him because he was basically a killer. A good killer, a killer who killed for a reason. He was not killing for no reason. He was not killing like he was a serial killer. He was killing because there was reason to kill. His motto was that in order to kill, he did not really believe in that thing like killing puts you in the bad place and all of that stuff, makes you a bad person and all of that stuff. He was killing because he knew that if he does not kill the person, he does not kill the criminal will come back and will kill someone else. So because of that, the amazing writing, everyone loved Peacemaker. And one of the main reasons why it managed to be pushed was because John Cena was the actor. No, John Cena was not considered a very good actor at that point. Why? Because people usually say he was very bland and all of that stuff. Now, he was called to be very bland, but Cena was still extremely popular, like one of the most famous actors in all of the world because of his pro wrestling. I myself was an extremely big Cena fan when he was a wrestler, and because of that I was kind of excited to see Cena in a superhero movie, even though he looked very goofy and I didn't expect anything from the character because he looked very goofy and I was not expecting anything. But because it was Cena, I still watched it with at least some type of excitement that is Cena, and the fact that it was written so good, everyone became a fan. So I do think there are two reasons why he became so famous. First of all, Suicide Squad, his characterization was amazingly written. And then it was it was John Cena's popularity that pushed him ahead and made even the people not interested watch the movie, and that kind of mix basically made him a top guy. Then he basically got his own show, and the show itself was amazing. Like everything about him was amazing, like all the characters. Vigilante is himself very goated, which I will make a video on, and all of the other characters. And I think because of all of this stuff, the constant success of Suicide Squad Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad. Then we also got an enemy with him, and then we got a TV show. We first got a TV show, then we got an enemy. Now it's season 2. So all of this stuff pushed him at top guy. I do think he will continue to get better. And even though I don't think so he will ever get as popular as like character like the one in the main Justice League, because to be honest, like there are not very variations with this character, but I do think he will always be like one of the most famous ones outside of Justice League. So yeah, and I hope that they continue writing, but let's not hope they make him kind of like suck it up, because for a D-list writer getting to the popularity, if his writing gets bad, people will actually forget him. We need him to be at least constantly good to best. If he becomes average or below average, people will ignore him and people will forget him, which I don't want, because he's one of my all-time favorite DC characters at this point. So yeah, I'm sorry if my voice was not clear or I was having the problem, because I'm extremely tired at this point, and I'm just like forcing myself to make this video because I have to push on, even though I really wanted to make this video. But anyway, yeah, if you like this video, please make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button, and let me know what you want me next. I will make sure to create one if I got any recommendation. Until then, bye bye.